It's like this. God gave me my job, but my job takes priority over God. It's like this. The beginning of all knowledge is the fear of God. And here I am in school and I don't have time for God. And here it is that we find ourselves fearing God, and you can barely find us in church. It's almost as if we're running away from God. I don't think that's the fear he had in mind. Reverence. Obedience was what he had in mind. Wow. And here we are fearing God almost. It's almost like we're running away from him. We're scared of him. So, I just wanted to kind of paint a picture for you. To show you where humanity is. To show you how we got there. Now I can show you where we're going on tonight. I can really dig you into where we're going. Because we're about to enter into a place to where it's really going to challenge you as a believer. It's going to challenge you to everything that you thought you knew. Everything that you thought you did. I promise you today is going to be a time of self-examination. Alright? Alright, go to Romans chapter 2. Romans chapter 2, starting at verse 12. Starting at verse 12. Here we go. Starting at verse 12. So check this. After all of that went down, time runs on and God allows sin to run its course, and now man is in a position where he's trying to catch up to God, not because he didn't want us, but because we wouldn't choose him. So this is where we are instead, living in the present, like we find ourselves, instead of living in the presence of God, we go to places and call on the presence of God. Like check it, if we would have done things like we were supposed to in the beginning, we would have just been in the presence of God 24/7. But now we find ourselves having to go to church and call on the presence of God. Come on, Lord. Come on, Lord. Come on, Lord. Let the redeemed of the Lord say so. Come on, come on, come on, come on. It's funny, but, you know, that's where we are. Instead of living 24/7 in the presence of God, we find ourselves having to go places. Find ourselves having to tap into with one another. I need a prayer partner so I can get with them, so I can call on the presence of God. Instead of living in the presence of God 24/7, right? So, instead of worship being a lifestyle to edify God, it becomes an exercise to make us feel good. Instead of worship being a lifestyle to edify God, it becomes an exercise to make us feel good. Not even realizing that worship ain't for us, it's for him. Like when you come here and you lift your hands, it's not for you to release your emotions. It's not for you to leave here feeling better. It's for you to say, you know what, God, in spite of everything, my worship is so strong that I'll worship you in spite of the most horrific times and trials in my life. No matter what's going on, God, it doesn't change the fact of who you are. That's what worship is. But instead, we come here and we pretty much got to pump somebody to jump around. Not that it's about the jumping. We got to prime somebody to smile. Not that it's about the smiling. But I believe that if you're in the presence of God and God is here and he's done great things for you, you ought to show some type of sign. Alright, that was just a little sidebar. So today, I see a lot going on to show that we love God. But I believe that God would wonder where our hearts are. I see the signs and symbols, but what is your heart crying out? That's what we're attacking. Romans chapter 2 verse 12 says it like this. He will punish sin whenever it is found. He will punish the heathen when they sin, even though they never had God's written laws, for down in their hearts they know right from wrong. God's laws are written within them. Their own conscience accuses them, or sometimes excuses them. And God will punish the Jews for sinning, Jews just meaning the Christians, those who know, for sinning because they have his written law, but don't obey them. They know what is right to do, but don't do it. After all, salvation is not given to those who know what to do unless they do it. The day will surely come when at God's command, Jesus Christ will judge the secret lives of everyone, their innermost thoughts and motives. This is all part of God's great plan, which I proclaim. Let me stop right there. This is what the call is. God is calling for us to go beyond just knowing his word. God is calling for us just to go beyond just studying his word. He is saying on tonight, it's not enough for you to know, but I'm calling for those who will do. Are you following me? He says it's not enough for you to know my word and not obey it. This is why God's word says obedience is better than sacrifice, because back in those days people were sacrificing like crazy, but all of a sudden when it came down to actually doing God's words, their lives amounted to nothing. That's why the word says obedience is better than sacrifice. A lot of times we use that scripture out of its context and we just use it to get somebody to do what we want them to do. Obedience is better than sacrifice. No. He said that because you know what? You can sacrifice all you want to. But the true test of whether you love me is if you obey me.
Right. I like that.
That's the true test right there. So, it's like this. How deep your love for me is determined by how deep your trust is for me. And if you don't obey me, then you don't trust me. The Bible says it this way, without faith it's impossible to please God. It couldn't be any more clear. If you don't trust me with your life, how can I trust you with mine? Wow. Understand this. When you put on Christ and when you come into, his type of living, what happens is if you obey me, I'll give you my life and I'll make you royalty. I'll give you mansions. I'll make you governors. I'll make you priests. I'll make you anything you want to be. I have so much for you. But how can I trust you with my type of living if you won't even live your life for me? That's where we are.